Hello and welcome back to Team Liquid's strategy guide series for Vault of the Incarnates. I am Telegon, and with me today is Kalamazi.
Hey everyone, I'm Kalamazi, a streamer and content creator for Liquid, and I'll be helping walk you through today's boss encounter.
In this video, we're going to be breaking down the mechanics and strategy for normal and heroic Broodkeeper Diurna, who you will fight as the 7th boss in the instance.
Broodkeeper Diurna is a two-phase fight. During phase 1, she summons adds on a timer at set points throughout the arena, which must be tanked and killed separately away from the boss while you move her around the room breaking eggs. 4 minutes into the encounter, you enter a burn phase where Diurna gains stacking % damage done and improved abilities.
Let's begin by talking about Broodkeeper's Bond, which is a foundational mechanic of this fight. It prevents Diurna's health from going below the number of eggs present in the room multiplied by 2%. There should be 24 eggs on normal and 28 eggs on heroic. The mechanic also gives Diurna a buff that increases nearby allies' damage done, reduces their damage taken, and heals them. This means that at no point in time should any add be in range of Diurna herself.
Now, how do you break eggs? Through a mechanic called Great Staff of the Broodkeeper. She periodically embeds her staff in the ground, and moving near the staff will give you an extra action button whose activation will cause the staff to target your location with a beam of lightning that will follow your character's movement. Moving this beam through an egg will destroy it, triggering a small amount of raid damage. On heroic, each of the embedded great staffs have 2 stacks, or 2 presses of the extra action button, which means you can break 2 eggs at one time. On normal, they only have 1 stack, which means you can only break 1 egg at one time.
Now, which eggs do we want to break? Conveniently, at 100 energy, Diurna uses an ability called Rapid Incubation, which causes the 2 eggs nearest to her to gain an indicator that correlates to when they will hatch and spawn an ad. You'll want to use the Great Staff to break these eggs before they hatch.
Diurna herself has a few other mechanics in phase 1, which we'll go over now. The first is called the Wildfire, where she targets each player within 50 yards with a red swirly. If you're in the swirly when it resolves, you will regain the Wildfire debuff. On heroic, make sure to pre-spread with the mechanic, as the initial impact also does damage. Her second phase 1 mechanic is called Icy Shroud. When Diurna casts Icy Shroud, every player within 50 yards will take a small amount of upfront damage and gain a debuff that applies a healing absorb and a 30% slow. This is a magic effect and may be dispelled, but consider coordinating healer master spells or healing cooldowns to deal with the mechanic. You may also use freedom of movement abilities like Freedom, Tiger's Lust, etc. to remove the effect. Diurna also has a tank mechanic called Mortal Stone Claws, which applies Crushing Stone Claws and Mortal Wounds, the former is nature damage dot, and the latter is a 65% healing taken decrease.
Adds spawn on a timer throughout phase 1. We will take the time here to go through each type of ad and their abilities. These ads spawn in predetermined sets, such that you will always receive the same type of ads for each set summoned at each specific time. To start off, we have Terrasec Legionnaires, a weak ad whose only ability is to do physical damage to its aggro target.
Primalist Mages cast Ice Barrage, which is targeted damage and should be interrupted. Terrasec Earth Reavers have 2 mechanics, a tank mechanic which reduces armor for 10 seconds and stacks, and Tremors, which are frontals that propagate out from its model. Contact with these effects will cause you to take a large chunk of damage and be stunned for 4 seconds. Take care to avoid Tremors as they come out.
Dragon Spawn Flamebenders cast Cauterizing Flash Flames on heroic, which hits all targets within 50 yards for 20% of their current health as fire damage, and then heals them for 200% of this damage over 9 seconds. As of our testing, the heal was a buff that could be removed with an offensive dispel, so keep this in mind if you have any mishaps. It also cannot hit the boss. Presence of this mechanic means you will want to prioritize killing this ad. This ad's second ability is called Flame Sentry, which causes turrets to spawn around a few players and then spin while shooting a jet of flame. Simply avoid this fire as it rotates until it despawns.
Juvenile Frost Proto-Dragons apply a stacking bleed to their current aggro target on heroic and periodically cast Chilling Tantrum on both difficulties. This does AoE damage to all targets within 50 yards, and healers should anticipate this. Draconoid Stormbringers have an ability called Static Jolt. Be sure to kick this cast. It also casts Ionizing Charge, which defaults to 2 targets and could scale with raid size. This debuffs those players who pulse for damage in a small radius for 8 seconds.
During testing, Diurna had a static phase change into phase 2 at exactly 4 minutes. She gains Broodkeeper's Fury and no longer summons ads, increasing her damage done by 15% and empowering several of her abilities, while doubling the duration of her tank mechanic, Mortal Wounds. This effect stacks and increases in intensity every 30 seconds. This will also serve as the fight's Soften Rage, making the fight more difficult the longer you stay in phase 2.
Empowered Greatstaff's Wrath is changed in this phase, losing the extra action button functionality. Instead, it will randomly target several players with beams of lightning. Frozen Shroud is changed in this phase as well to root instead of slow, which can cause dangerous overlaps when it comes out right before or after a wildfire. You should consider using Mass Dispel when it comes out before a wildfire, as well as saving as many free movement abilities or magic immunities for it as possible. In the case where Frozen Shroud comes out shortly after wildfire, you want to be prepared to quickly move out of the wildfire swirly so that you do not get rooted in the effect. Mortal Stone Claws also exist in this phase with a longer duration.
In terms of strategy, you'll want to assign a group of players with good on-demand AoE profiles to attend to the ads as necessary. Your tanks will want to coordinate who is responsible for picking up the ads and who is staying on the boss. It should be possible for these roles to remain static throughout phase 1, although when the ad tank returns to the boss, they can of course take it until a new set spawns. You'll want to pre-plan your movement from egg to egg throughout the room, according to the static ad spawns so that none ever spawn within Diurna's range.
You also want to assign 2 players on Heroic to be in charge of breaking the eggs with the Great Staff. This player should be a consistent, reliable one. This mechanic also favors highly mobile specs such as BM Hunter. If the tank on the boss has enough bandwidth, he may also be assigned this mechanic. As previously mentioned, you may want to consider coordinating massive spells for Frozen Shroud, be aware and plan for the aforementioned overlaps for Wildfire in Phase 2.
And with that, we very much hope you found this guide useful. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe, feel free to leave feedback or commentary in the comment section, and make sure to keep your eye on this channel as more guides will be coming out soon. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next one.